My beloved brothers and sisters, sometimes the greatest act of worship is not what comes out of your mouth, but what you manage to keep inside. There are moments in life when Allah is telling you through your conscience, your heart and your faith, keep your mouth shut, not because you are weak, not because you are defeated, but because silence can save your heart, your relationships, your peace, and most importantly, your akhirah. Often it is one sentence, one comment, one sarcastic reply that destroys years of goodness. And when those words leave your mouth, you cannot pull them back. They fly faster than arrows and cut deeper than knives. Allah warns us again and again to be careful with the tongue, because the tongue is small, but its damage is massive. My brothers and sisters, when you feel anger rising, when you feel that burning desire to answer back, when someone accuses you, mocks you, or tries to provoke you, tell your heart, for the sake of Allah, keep your mouth shut. Your silence at that moment is not weakness, it is strength, it is maturity. It is Allah protecting you from a sin that could destroy your deeds. How many friendships have ended because of words? How many families have broken because of words? How many marriages have collapsed because of words? How many hearts carry wounds that were created not by swords but by tongues? Allah loves those who control themselves. Allah loves those who pause before speaking. Allah loves those who choose peace over ego. And remember this beautiful principle. If your words aren't going to fix something, heal something, or bring someone closer to Allah, then silence is better. Sometimes the greatest victory is when you walk away quietly, with your dignity, your heart, and your iman intact. You lose nothing by staying silent, but you may lose a lot by speaking without thinking. My brothers and sisters, let your tongue become a source of charity, not a source of destruction. Speak goodness or remain silent. That is how a believer lives. May Allah grant us the wisdom to speak only what pleases Him, and the strength to stay silent when silence is safer for our souls. Ameen. Silence is not just the absence of speech. It is a shield, a purifier, and a teacher. When we talk about silence protecting the heart and the deeds, we are really talking about a spiritual discipline that has the power to transform a person from the inside out. The tongue is one of the smallest organs in the body, yet it carries the ability to elevate a believer to the highest ranks or drop them to the lowest depths. Every word we utter is recorded, every sentence carries weight, and every slip has consequences. When a person learns to hold their tongue, they are actually training their heart to be conscious of Allah, aware of consequences and mindful of the hereafter. There are moments in life when silence prevents a sin from forming, because most verbal sins begin with impulse. Anger rises, emotions flare, ego wakes up, and the tongue becomes ready to fire. It is in those moments that silence becomes a shield. A person who remains silent protects not only others from harm, but protects their own heart from hardening. Every harsh word stains the heart, every insult cracks it, and every argument fills it with bitterness. But when you stay silent for the sake of Allah, you soften your heart. You protect it from the poison that anger tries to pour into it. Silence also protects your deeds. A person may pray all night, fast extra days, give charity and show kindness, but one sharp word, one insult, one moment of backbiting or slander can erase mountains of good deeds. Many people will come on the day of judgment with prayers and fasting, but others will take their good deeds from them because of words they spoke casually in this world. Silence prevents that loss. It preserves your worship the way a lock protects a treasure chest. It keeps you from spending your good deeds on unnecessary conflicts or disputes. When you hold your tongue, you also protect yourself from regret. How many times have we said something and later wish we could take it back? How many moments of anger ended with regret? Silence in those moments saves you from apologizing for something that never should have been said. It saves you from hurting someone's heart, from breaking trust, or from damaging a relationship. A silent person may be misunderstood for the moment, but a person who speaks without thinking is often regretted for a long time. Silence strengthens the mind as well. When you are silent, you listen more deeply, you understand more clearly, you observe what others do not notice. You hear the unspoken pain in someone's voice, the hidden message in their tone, the truth behind their words. Silence opens a door inside you to wisdom. People who talk too much struggle to reflect, but people who stay silent long enough begin to see the world with clearer eyes. Silence is also a form of humility. It shows that you do not need to win every argument. You do not need to correct every person, and you do not need the last word to feel strong. Your strength comes from Allah, and your dignity remains untouched. When someone provokes you and you remain silent, you rise above them in a way that words could never achieve. Ultimately, silence is not emptiness. It is full of worship, patience, reflection, and self-control. It is a sign of a heart that fears harming others and fears displeasing Allah. When you choose silence to protect your heart and your deeds, you are choosing a path of peace in this world and success in the next. Words are among the greatest gifts Allah has given humanity, and they are also among the greatest tests. Every sentence we speak has a ripple effect, shaping hearts, relationships, and even destinies. This is why understanding that words can heal or destroy is essential for anyone who wants to live with wisdom and faith. One kind word can lift a person who has been struggling for years, while one cruel sentence can break someone who is barely holding on. Words are powerful not because they are loud or clever, but because they touch the emotional, spiritual, and psychological layers of a human being. They settle in the heart long after the moment has passed. A healing word can calm a storm within someone. When you tell a hurting person, "I'm here for you," or "Allah is with you," you give them hope they couldn't find on their own. You become a source of comfort, a means through which Allah sends peace to another soul. A word of encouragement can ignite a spark inside someone who feels defeated. A simple compliment can restore confidence in someone who feels invisible. Words have the ability to rebuild a person's spirit, help them forgive themselves, and remind them of their worth. And what is more beautiful than being the reason someone feels closer to Allah or closer to their own dignity? But the same tongue that heals can also destroy. Words spoken in anger or carelessness can leave wounds that take years to heal, if they heal at all. A sarcastic comment, a harsh insult, a humiliating remark, these may last only seconds when spoken, but they can echo in someone's mind for a lifetime. Many people walk around carrying emotional scars, not from physical harm, but from verbal wounds. They remember hurtful words from childhood, heartbreaking statements from loved ones, or cruel comments made in moments of conflict. These words settle deeply, shaping a person's self-image, their belief in others, and even their relationship with Allah. That is why controlling the tongue is an act of mercy. It is mercy to yourself and mercy to others. When you choose your words carefully, you ensure that you are not leaving behind emotional destruction. You protect yourself from regret, from apologies that come too late, and from relationships that break because of things said in the heat of the moment. Many friendships fall apart, not because of major events, but because of small, careless words. Many marriages crack not from grand betrayals, but from daily hurtful phrases spoken without thought. Families become distant because of words that should never have been uttered. The Prophet taught that a person may say a word they consider insignificant, but it brings the anger of Allah for miles. And a person may say a word of kindness that they barely think about, and Allah raises them because of it. This shows us that words are not light. They carry spiritual weight, even when spoken casually. A believer knows that their tongue is not free, it is accountable, it is recorded, measured, and judged. Speaking wisely is a sign of maturity and faith. It shows that your heart is awake, that you understand the impact of your speech, and that you value peace over ego. Wise people are remembered for how their words made others feel, safe, valued, and respected. They speak with intention, kindness, and clarity. Their words are bridges, not walls. When you realize that words can heal or destroy, you naturally begin speaking less, but meaning more. You pause before responding, reflect before reacting, and choose silence when silence is safer. Your speech becomes purposeful, gentle, and beneficial. You become a source of comfort in a world full of noise and pain. To heal with your words is a form of charity. To avoid harming with your words is a form of worship. And to understand the power of your words is to understand the responsibility Allah has placed upon your tongue. Backbiting, gossip, and unnecessary talking may seem like small, harmless habits, but in reality, they are among the most spiritually damaging actions a person can fall into. These habits do not just harm others, they poison the soul of the one who practices them. They create a darkness inside the heart that slowly eats away at faith, sincerity, and inner peace. When a person engages in such speech, even casually, they are planting seeds of sin that can grow into behaviors that become difficult to control. The tongue becomes used to speaking freely about others, And soon the heart becomes indifferent to the seriousness of such actions. Backbiting is not simply describing someone behind their back. It is exposing flaws, sharing secrets, mocking, or highlighting weaknesses that the person would dislike hearing. It is one of the easiest sins to commit because it often hides behind just conversation. People gather, and without thinking, they begin discussing someone who isn't present, analyzing their life, their mistakes, their habits. With every sentence, the heart becomes heavier. The angels record every word, and a person ends up carrying sins they never imagined would count. Gossip is similar but even more destructive. Gossip spreads rumors, creates suspicion, destroys reputations, and turns small misunderstandings into massive conflicts. A gossiper takes information, true or false, and turns it into entertainment. This behavior degrades the dignity of others and replaces compassion with curiosity over people's faults. Such talk creates division in families, communities, and friendships. It breaks trust and turns hearts cold. A single rumor can destroy someone's life. A single exag, errated statement can ruin someone's name. And all of it is done with words that slip off the tongue in seconds. Unnecessary talking is another trap that people often overlook. It doesn't always involve sin directly, but it opens the door to sin. When someone talks excessively, they eventually slip into mockery, backbiting, showing off, or even lying. Too much speaking leads to too little thinking. The heart becomes distracted, the mind becomes unfocused, and the person becomes reactive rather than reflective. Meaningless talk wastes time, drains energy, and distracts the soul from remembering Allah. A heart that is constantly drowned in chatter cannot find peace, because silence is where clarity and reflection grow. All three, backbiting, gossip, and unnecessary talking, slowly distance a person from Allah. The more a person talks about others, the less they look within themselves. The more they involve themselves in other people's flaws, the less they notice their own. This creates a spiritual blindness where a person begins to feel righteous while carrying mountains of sins related to the tongue. The tongue may enjoy the conversation, but the heart pays the price. One of the greatest harms of these habits is that they destroy relationships and break the unity of hearts. When a person speaks about someone behind their back, trust crumbles. When gossip spreads, even innocent people become enemies. When unnecessary talking fills gatherings, meaningful conversations disappear and hearts remain empty. The tongue becomes a weapon instead of a tool for kindness, guidance, and healing. Staying away from such actions is a form of purification. When you restrain your tongue, you begin to feel a lightness in your heart. You feel more at peace, more focused, more connected to Allah. You begin to notice that your relationships improve, your mind becomes calmer, and your worship becomes more sincere. Protecting the tongue leads to protecting the soul. When you stop discussing others, you start improving yourself. When you stop gossiping, you begin valuing silence. When you stop unnecessary talking, you start speaking with purpose. This transformation cleanses the heart and brings a sense of dignity and maturity. Avoiding backbiting and gossip is not just about staying away from sin, it is about protecting your heart, preserving your faith, and becoming a person whose presence brings peace rather than harm. Controlling the tongue and controlling anger are among the most powerful signs of inner strength recognized by Allah. These two qualities go hand in hand because the tongue is often the first thing to react when anger rises. A person may think they are strong when they shout, argue, or respond harshly, but true strength is shown by the one who restrains himself at the moment when he feels most provoked. Allah loves those who can remain calm, composed, and mindful, even when their emotions are boiling inside. This restraint is not natural, it is trained. It comes from patience, humility, and fear of harming others with words that cannot be taken back. When anger strikes, the heart beats faster, the mind becomes clouded, and the tongue becomes restless. In such moments, it is easy to say something that causes deep wounds, something insulting, hurtful, or humiliating. Allah knows the nature of human beings, and that is why He praises those who swallow their anger rather than unleashing it. Swallowing anger means choosing silence over shouting, patience over reaction, and wisdom over impulse. It means remembering that Allah is watching, that every word is being recorded, and that one moment of anger can create a lifetime of regret. The person who remains silent in anger has protected themselves from sin and protected others from harm. All loves this quality because it reflects discipline. Anyone can react when provoked, only the wise can pause. That pause, just a few seconds of silence, can prevent arguments, save relationships, and protect a person's good deeds. It's during that silence that a person remembers their purpose and their accountability. They remind themselves that they are not reacting for the satisfaction of their ego, but responding for the sake of Allah. This mindset transforms anger into an opportunity for reward. Every time you control your anger, you rise spiritually. You earn Allah's love, His mercy, and His protection. Furthermore, controlling the tongue during anger brings peace to the heart. Harsh words create chaos not only around you, but inside you. They make the heart feel heavy, darkened, and unsettled. When you choose silence, you protect that inner peace. You avoid the guilt and sadness that often follow a heated argument. You keep your heart soft and clean instead of filling it with remorse. Allah loves those who choose compassion over confrontation, who pick mercy over revenge, and who know that dignity is found in patience, not in loudness. Anger is often the moment when Shaitan tries hardest to push a person into sin. He whispers thoughts like, "Don't let them talk to you like that," or "Show them who you are." These whispers drive people into destructive speech. But the one who remembers Allah in that moment becomes immune to these whispers. Their silence becomes an act of worship. Their patience becomes a shield. Allah loves the person who resists these temptations, who understands that lowering the voice is a sign of nobility, not weakness. Controlling anger also strengthens relationships in ways nothing else can. Couples, siblings, friends, and families often damage their bonds through words spoken in heated moments. Once spoken, those words cannot be erased from the memory of the person who heard them. The ability to remain calm can prevent emotional scars and unnecessary hurt. It builds trust because people feel safe around someone who does not explode easily. They know that this person measures their words and speaks from the heart, not from uncontrolled emotion. Finally, controlling the tongue and anger makes a person beloved on earth and in the heavens. People respect someone who stays calm, who does not lose themselves in anger, and Allah honors that person even more. Controlling anger is one of the greatest forms of jihad, a struggle against the self. It proves sincerity, discipline, and maturity. And when Allah loves someone, He fills their life with blessing, ease, and tranquility. To control anger and the tongue is to live with intention and mindfulness. It is choosing wisdom over impulse, peace over pride, and Allah over the ego. It is a path that leads to emotional strength in this world and reward in the next. Silence during anger is not just a wise habit. It is a powerful form of worship and a sign of deep spiritual maturity. When a person feels anger rising, the natural human response is to defend, react, shout, or argue. But when someone chooses silence at that exact moment, they are not being passive. They are exercising control over one of the strongest emotions Allah has placed within us. Anger, if left unrestrained, can push a person into saying or doing things they never intended. It clouds the mind, hardens the heart, and opens the door to Shaitan's whispers. Yet when someone remains silent in those moments, it becomes a profound act of worship because they are choosing Allah's pleasure over their own ego. Silence during anger saves a person from countless regrets. Most of the pain caused in relationships does not come from physical actions, but from words spoken without thought. A single sentence said in anger can destroy trust, break a heart, or create wounds that take years to heal. When a person stays silent, instead, they are protecting themselves and the people around them. They are preventing future apologies, tears, misunderstandings, and bitterness. They are choosing long-term peace over temporary satisfaction. And Allah rewards such restraint because it shows discipline and awareness of consequences. This silence is not emptiness, it is full of intention. It is a moment where the heart talks louder than the tongue. In that moment of silence, the heart remembers Allah, reflects on the situation, and slowly cools down. Instead of reacting with emotion, the person gives themselves space to think with clarity. This is why silence during anger is considered wisdom. It transforms an emotional reaction into a thoughtful response. It allows the person to approach the situation later with dignity instead of regret. It shows that their heart is not controlled by impulse, but guided by faith. Silence during anger also protects a person's spiritual rank. In the heat of anger, a person may speak in arrogance, disrespect, or cruelty. These sins weigh heavily on the soul. When someone stays silent, they are protecting their good deeds from being destroyed. They are stopping themselves from falling into backbiting, accusations, lies, or hurtful speech. Every moment of silence becomes a moment of reward, a moment where angels record patience instead of sin. Allah loves the one who holds back, who fights their own temper for His sake. This internal battle is one of the greatest forms of jihad, the struggle against the self. Silence also brings emotional healing. When a person reacts loudly during anger, they feed the fire inside them, making the anger grow stronger. But when they stay quiet, the fire weakens. Their silence becomes a cooling breeze for their heart. It calms their breathing, relaxes their thoughts, and allows their emotions to settle. They begin to see the situation from a different perspective. They may even realize that what made them angry was not worth a harsh reaction. Silence gives time for understanding, empathy, and forgiveness to enter the heart. Moreover, silence during anger makes relationships stronger. Whether between spouses, siblings, friends, or co-workers, silence prevents conflict from escalating. It allows the other person to calm down as well. Often, when one person chooses silence, the entire argument loses its fuel. The atmosphere softens, and there is space for communication without shouting or accusations. People feel safe with someone who does not explode in anger. They trust such a person. They feel respected by them. And respect is the foundation of every healthy relationship. Finally, silence during anger is a reflection of true inner nobility. It shows that a person values peace over pride, wisdom over noise, and self-control over self-expression. It shows that they prioritize pleasing Allah over proving a point. Allah honors such people by giving them tranquility in their hearts, clarity in their minds, and blessings in their lives. Silence at the right time is not weakness. It is strength, dignity, and worship that brings a person close to Allah. Choosing to speak goodness or to remain silent is one of the most profound principles that shapes a believer's character, behavior, and spiritual growth. It may sound simple, but this single principle has the power to transform one's relationships, purify one's heart, and bring peace to one's life. Every day we face countless moments where we must decide whether to speak or keep quiet. And in each of those moments, the tongue becomes a test. If we choose to speak goodness, we spread light. If we choose silence instead of harmful speech, we prevent darkness from entering our lives. This balance is what makes a person wise, respected, and deeply connected to Allah. Speaking goodness is an act of charity. A kind word can uplift someone who feels alone, motivate someone who feels discouraged, or comfort someone who feels lost. When you say something positive, supportive, or encouraging, you are becoming a source of healing for another heart. You never know how much your gentle words might mean to someone who has been struggling silently. Sometimes the smallest compliment becomes the reason a person regains confidence. Sometimes a reminder of Allah becomes the reason someone returns to faith. Words that inspire, guide, or soothe are considered acts of worship because they carry benefit, hope, and mercy. On the other hand, silence is also a beautiful form of goodness. There are moments when speaking is not needed, and silence protects more than words ever could. When the conversation is moving toward gossip, silence becomes purity. When anger is rising, silence becomes peace. When someone is trying to provoke you, silence becomes dignity. When people are arguing foolishly, silence becomes wisdom. Staying quiet in such moments prevents sins, avoids unnecessary conflicts, and keeps the heart clean. Silence is not emptiness, it is protection. A believer understands that not every thought needs to be spoken, not every opinion needs to be shared, and not every reaction needs to be expressed. Sometimes the ego pushes us to speak out of pride, frustration, or the need to prove a point. But speech without purpose becomes noise, and noise disrupts the soul. Choosing silence instead shows maturity. It shows that you value your peace more than your pride, and your character more than winning an argument. When you live by the principle of speaking goodness or remaining silent, you start to see the world differently. Your conversations become meaningful. Your relationships become more peaceful. Your heart becomes more content. You stop wasting time on pointless discussions, harmful jokes, or negative comments. You become more selective, more intentional, and more mindful with your speech. This mindfulness invites mercy into your life because Allah loves those who speak with wisdom and avoid causing harm. Speaking goodness also creates an atmosphere of positivity around you. People feel safe with someone who speaks kindly. They trust you, respect you, and feel comfortable sharing their struggles with you. Your presence becomes associated with comfort rather than criticism. And that is a gift. Not everyone has the ability to make others feel at ease. But when you choose your words carefully, you become a source of calm for the people around you. Remaining silent when there is no benefit in speaking is equally powerful. It prevents you from saying things you may regret later. How many times have people destroyed friendships because they spoke without thinking? How many marriages have suffered because of harsh words said in frustration? How many hearts carry wounds that were caused by careless comments? Silence could have saved all of that. It could have prevented the pain, the regret, and the emotional scars. This principle also keeps you spiritually safe. When you speak goodness, you earn reward. When you stay silent instead of saying something harmful, you earn protection. Both choices benefit you. Both choices bring you closer to Allah. And both choices elevate your character. Living by this principle turns the tongue into a source of benefit rather than harm. It closes the doors to sin and opens the doors to wisdom. It transforms speech into a blessing and silence into a shield. And it teaches the heart to value peace and goodness above all else. In the end, my beloved brothers and sisters, the message is simple yet life-changing. Your tongue is a gift, a responsibility, and a test from Allah. Every word you speak carries weight. Every moment of silence carries meaning, and every choice you make shapes the state of your heart and your akhirah. When you protect your tongue, you protect your peace. When you guard your speech, you guard your deeds. We learn that silence saves the heart, that words can heal or destroy, and that avoiding gossip and backbiting keeps your soul clean. We understood that Allah loves those who control anger, those who choose silence over pride, and those who speak goodness or remain quiet. These principles are not small acts. They are forms of worship, character, and discipline that elevate a believer in the sight of Allah. If you want a peaceful life, purify your speech. If you want strong relationships, choose your words wisely. If you want a clean heart, avoid conversations that poison it. And if you want Allah's love, then let your tongue and your silence both reflect sincerity and humility. May Allah make our words a source of healing, not harm. May He bless us with wisdom, patience, and calm hearts. And may He protect us from the slips of the tongue that could destroy our good deeds. Ameen. Thank you, everyone.